Hello. Sorry for the little delay since the last video. It's not real easy for me to do this. I've never did anything like this before, and it's a little complicated because I don't want to do something just boring, you know, where some washed up pool player sits on a phone and tells stories, you know. I mean, it's just not that fun to watch someone sit and talk on a phone. I mean, some maybe history revisionist or something like that's all right, but I mean, you know, I'm not exactly one of those kind of speakers. But I'm talking to some people that I've ran with, and maybe we can sit and talk about some things and get some laughs and, you know, whatever. And I've got some other things I'm working on to make it a little bit better than just me on a phone telling stories. But I've got a I've always believed that pool needs to be brought into the mainstream, and I know league play is pretty mainstream and everything, and it's great. And I mean, I know the players, they love the game just as much as everyone else. I played in league stuff for a lot of years, but the blood of the game kind of, you know, it's never really made it into the mainstream. And I think I could do my part. I mean, I've been in about a 22-year fight with the worldwide opiate crisis. I've outran it up to this point. There'll be something on my page pretty soon, you know. If anybody wants to try to help out, they can. It would be appreciated. And I thank everyone for any interest they've showed, or any subscribers. Thank you very much. And just a few little tidbits. One story I'll tell real quick. I was barely 20 years old, I think, and some friends come through. I was in Richmond, Kentucky at the time. Some friends come through and they was like, we're going south, blah blah blah. So I was like, well, you know, let's go. So I get in the car, and somehow we wind up in New Orleans. And so we're down in New Orleans. We don't know anybody. We don't know nothing. We start looking on phone books for pool rooms, and we find one called Racketeers. Seemed promising, you know. Looked like a kind of, you know, there might be some action. And we get in there and hanging out, and they had these big frosty mugs of beer, and it was the coldest draft beer. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was really good. And walking in, that's all you see is people sitting there, you know, trying to get their breakfast in them, like beer and tomato juice, whatever it was, you know. And it's like you could tell the tables, you could tell they gambled there a little bit and whatever. Okay, but at the time, so I ended up I've always been a little bit wild, but back then I was real wild, and I had fairly long hair at the time. And I remember I had some of the people who was with, there's a couple girls, I had one of them like braid my hair into kind of long braids, and put these little clips in with the braids in. So I got all these crazy braids, and I got on these huge bib overalls. I looked like I just fell out of a van that was leaving a Grateful Dead show. But I ended up playing a little bit around there, and I met the guy Humphreys. I know a lot of people know Humphreys, especially down in that part of the country. And I'll tell you, it was pretty amazing, because I've been everywhere, and I've never been around someone that would take me to a spot and just tell me exactly what was going to happen and what to do, and how it was going to happen, when, how much I was going to win, how much I was going to bet. And every single place, he took me like 7 spots, and it went down exactly like he said. if they played a certain song, asked them to play this for this much, if they stirred their coffee, that's when blah, blah, blah. And I mean, that's exactly, every spot went down just like that. But the one that sticks out was a pool room called Buffalo's. And it was over 20 years ago. And I get there, he sends me in there with a couple $1,000. He says, I'm looking for there's a young guy in there I'm looking for to play. And they called him Little John. So I go walking in Buffalo's. I got these braids in my hair. My hair's dyed blonde and brown. I look like a crazy hippie, right? I'm carrying my cue in with no case. And I just sit down right up there in the middle of it, just, you know, start watching. And I don't know, it seemed like maybe someone was like, you play pool, whatever, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I'm wanting to play some, and blah, blah, blah. And here comes John. I guess no one's ever loved to play as much as him. And so he sees me, and I mean, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd have played absolutely perfect. I think he would have paid for quite a while just to keep seeing someone that looked like me run out. But when I ran out for about 4 or 5 hours, and finally he just kind of made a smirk and laughed a little bit. And I can't remember exactly what he said, but he just walked on and said, good shooting, he's a gentleman. Shook my hand, always has been. And but I mean, and all the spots I went to down there, that's what I looked like. These bib overalls was made for about a 300-pound man, and at the time I might have weighed 170. You know, and I mean, I'd give anything if I had a picture of what I looked like with these braids in my hair, man. And every spot I went to like that. One spot was a pretty tough spot. I mean, the guy was a little bit of a roughneck. I beat him the set, and he had put the balls in the rack, you know, to take them back to the counter, and he ended up slinging the whole rack at me. So I got 16 balls with the cue ball flying at me across the pool room, and none of them hit me. I thought he was going to charge me, so I'm trying to get in between the table and him. He's a pretty big guy. But yeah, other than that, that was the only incident. And I mean, I guess to this day, I haven't been there in a while, but I guess New Orleans is still an amazing place for action. It's they really love the pool action there. But yeah, that was over 20 years ago, and it's something else. And just one more little one real quick here. It was around the same time, maybe a year later. I leave Ohio. Didn't even have a car at the time. I had some family in Colorado where I was headed, and I had my girlfriend with me at the time, and we end up in Colorado Springs, and it's just a complete fluke. We walk in the Clicks Billiards, or whatever they was called. They had a little chain there at the time. I think it was Clicks, I don't know. But we walk in, and Steve Meserak is doing an expo in there or something. He's doing this, he's putting on some kind of thing. He's putting on a show, trick shots, and all this stuff that he does. I mean, there's everybody in Colorado Springs is there at the time. Not a soul knows me. I don't know anyone. And they're going to draw 2 people out of everyone that gets to play Meserak. And if they beat him the game, they get like $100 or something. I can't remember, and a cue or something. So, well, a girl gets drawed, and wouldn't you know, I get drawed. I'm the second ticket that comes out to play Meserak in this thing, and yeah, I'm looking like a crazy hippie, and I got my cue, no case, walking around, and but well, when I get up to play him, I mean, like, I really put some work into it. I spent a couple. I must have lasted Probably, it was a game of 8 ball. I think I made it last right around 10, close to 10 minutes. I pushed it pretty far, and yeah, sorry about that. I pushed it pretty far, and I mean, I never made a ball. It's like I would get down like I was gonna stroke the ball real good, and I just missed by 2 foot. My last shot, I remember I went under the cue ball and flung the cue ball like 7 feet across the room. And it was, but the whole town, sorry about the little pause there, I was paying attention to something, but the whole town, got to see this. And I mean, it couldn't have been better. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And like the other cliques, like there was a few of them in that town. Well, the other one, that's where there was a few people that gamble, and I ended up going there that night. And I mean, I started playing a little $5 and $10 pool and so forth, and I was pulling out a nice little bankroll. I didn't have a lot of money, but I looked like I did. and I was drinking, and I was talking, bet a little higher. As the games went by, I was getting a little more mouthy about betting more, and well, there was a couple guys that end up they're almost arguing over how they're gonna chop my money up. And well, I mean, to make a long story short, I beat them. I beat everyone there. I beat about 4 of them and all their money together. But it was a really good score for that pool room at the time. I win I think it was right around 7,000, and this was back like maybe 2000, 2001. I think it may have been. It was near the time. It was near the New Orleans trip. So, yeah, it was right in that area. But either way, it was a really good score for this spot. And yeah, I really like thinking back and reminiscing, because I haven't thought about some of these in a long time. And I've got a lot of them, and I've got some really good ones. I'm holding out on them a little bit until I get used to this and get in the right setting, But I mean, I just need a little more time to get used to it, and I'm getting some things set up that I need. But I mean, I'm definitely willing to try my best to tell some good stories of my decades that I've had invested into pool, into the traveling side of it, and so forth. And like I say, I've got some plans to do some things in the game that have never been done. I've started to make some contacts that I need to do it, and basically I've just been needing to get myself together. I've struggled for a little while, but I'm doing well now, and like I say, any support will be great. There'll be something coming up on my page real soon, and like I would love any kind of support. Like I say, I mean, I'll take the time. I'll do my best to entertain, and I will fill people in more on some of the things I'm planning on doing. It's American pocket billiards and pool. It's there's a lot more to it than what's there. I mean, it just ain't right that good players, as they get older, they just wind up in some terrible positions. And a lot of them ain't saints. God knows I've not been a saint, but it don't take from the fact of you know, the kind of player a person is and was, and how much they really did put into the game, and how much they're still willing to put into the game. God willing, I've got a lot more I want to do, and but it's, you know, like I say, one thing that's always been missing for me is the support and the help, you know, and I've gotten into some kind of bad spots a few times. But have a good day, everybody, and I'll get going pretty soon and spend a little more time with some good stories, and I'm going to try to have someone else on here with me pretty soon, and I'll set a camera up so I'm not just walking around, and, you know, be a little more laid back. Thank you. Have a good day.